instead of doing the round table, we're going to give you some tips that you can use while you're stuck at home. Our topic is the mind, body, and spirit, and we want to focus more on that today. Like, how do you cope? What are some things that you can do right now to put into place? And so hopefully you got your notebooks out. So our panelists are each going to give a little segment of some ideas, and we'll talk about that. And we'll just kind of go around and see what we've got for you. And the business stuff of photography, obviously that's important, but there's some other groups that are covering that very well. And we decided to really just focus in on the mind, body, and spirit today. So we're going to start with Lori Kraft, and she's going to, if you would just tell us what you're going to talk about, and let's chat.
All right. Good afternoon, good morning. I don't know where you're at. So anyway, hello. So my topic today is personal projects and what we can do during this time frame. And Kevin, are you going to kind of give us a time, kind of flash something so that because you want us to keep to about 5 minutes?
Yeah, just roll with it. We're good.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I don't want to be like, go crazy. Anyway, I'm back. So anyway, we've got the mind, body, and spirit, and I'm not going to do the body because the only thing I'm doing is eating, and I'm doing that really, really well right now. So I'm going to leave that one. But, personal projects, there's a saying out there that says, those things you've always wanted to do, you should go do them. And I love that quote. It's one of my favorite quotes. And I've had it for about 2 years, and it's been like, oh, this is great. I should do something I've always wanted to do. Well, there's a couple things I've always wanted to do. One would be to be a performer and to sing. Well, I'm not doing that. That is not happening. But the one thing I can do is I'm intrigued with art, and I'm not an artist. And I know I can hear Helen Yancey in my head saying, yes, everybody's an artist. You should go to, I know I'm not an artist. I've never been trained or anything, but I love it. And I'm appreciating it more over these last couple years. And so recently I decided to look into watercolor, and it's a project and something that I wanted to learn for myself. But little did I realize how much it also ties into photography, because the watercolor ties in with the highlights and the shadows and composition and all these things. And I'm like, oh, dang, yeah, I should know this. So that's been really cool. Watercolor just is, the depth and the variance of color and how they all work together. So it does tie in to photography, but it's challenging me. And what I have found is when I'm watching these videos and I'm learning how to do this watercolor or whatever the medium is, my brain is blocking out everything else around me. I'm so lost within what I'm doing, and whether I'm painting my giraffe that Monica loves, or I started you can't tell yet, but this will be a dandelion at some point. This is like the dandelion blowing. When I'm doing that, I'm not watching the news. When I'm doing that, I'm not stressing, I'm not cleaning, I'm not whatever it is. I'm not talking to my kids that are, all those things. I just am really doing that. And then I feel good when it's done and I see a finished project, and you get those comments back, and it's helped me mind, body, and soul to be able to do that. And now watercolor may not be your thing. You could care less or whatever. But what is it? You can do lettering. I do a lot of creative journaling in the morning. I get up and I take those first half hour. I really, really try to stay away from my phone, which I know is really hard and it sucks us in. But the creative journaling, I have this book that I'm using right now, and it's just this beautiful journal. And I wrote on the front of it, COVID, and every single day I am taking whether it's a scripture for my spirit, or whether it's a quote that I'm seeing or something I want to write, and I'm drawing and putting that in there. And I thought, what an opportunity to go back a long time from now and to be able to see what got me through this, what it took to get me through. I've really tried to stay away from the TV as much as I can. I'll turn on music and things that are more inspiring to me. And yesterday we went out and I was creative in the yard and just cleaned out in the yard, and it felt so good. It felt good to have a tired body last night. It felt good to feel those aches and to have that sunshine. So whatever it is that you can find, that is it painting a piece of furniture, whatever it is, you know, we can only clean so much, we can only organize so much. And I don't know if you guys have seen the thing that's going around that says, you know, all those, I said I would, all these things I wanted to do at my house, I found out I'm just lazy. It's not time. I'm just lazy. I don't want to do them. And you know, I don't know about you guys, but when I'm sitting here and thinking about all these things I could do, I don't really want to do them. It's not, there's something there that's just like a block. But when I start to do something that I enjoy, whether it's crocheting or knitting, and, you know, you have to find your medium. It may be, maybe it's not art. Maybe it's poetry. Maybe it's, you know, taking a piece of furniture and recreating it into something, doing some collage, whatever that is, that you can just take some time and lose yourself is so important to be able to, it kind of cleans out my mind. And then today I posted something. The other thing we need to make sure is that we are releasing, and this will be my last thing, is how can you release what's going on? There's an angst that we hang on to and we hold it in our gut. When we have angst, it's in our gut and you can just feel it really, really tight, and it holds so much. But what can we do to release that? And one thing that I've helped some people with before is, have you ever made a fist and your whole body can go into that fist? But when you open that hand, try to make a fist while your hand is open. You can't do it. It's like, it doesn't happen. And so to use open hands, and when you find yourself getting tight and clenched up, open your hands and look at them and visualize whatever it is that you're holding on so tight and going up. Visualize it leaving your hands. Go outside and just stand out there and watch the wind blow through your hands, and picture that, and maybe say out loud, right now I'm dealing with anger. I'm ticked. I'm just pissed off right now that I can't live my life. I'm pissed off that my kids are not in school, and for two reasons, but that, you know, they're missing out on those friendships and things, whatever that is. But you open your hands and you got to let it go. And so those are some things also. Take a piece of paper, write it all down, rip it up, bury it in the ground, burn it in a burn barrel, you know, whatever it is that you can do. Sometimes we have to physically do something, because to get it out of our brain, to get it out of our head. So that would be my encouragement, is to make sure do something. Don't just sit there, whether it's, you know, a mind, body, spirit, however you can do to release that. For me, it's in paint, but for somebody else, it's, you know, it is digging in the garden or whatever. That dirt just feels so good in our hands. But so anyway, I'm anxious to hear everybody else. Yeah, Kevin.
That's fantastic. So good. A couple questions.
Sure.
Where are you getting the resources for your paintings?
The painting, there is a website, which I love because it's really simple. It's called Let's Make Art. And so if you go in there, she has free tutorials. Her name is Sarah Cray. She's just a fun, she doesn't take herself too serious, which is what we need right now. She has a lot of laughter, but also in there is tutorials on lettering and then creative journaling. And so, you know, a lot of photographers, when we're doing different creative things, the lettering is just gorgeous. I mean, you see that lettering, and we can find those fonts, but what if you did that yourself? What if you took a piece of paper, instead of going and finding that font in Photoshop, what if you took some markers and you actually created that yourself, and put a sign in your window, you know, make some new things. So anyway, letsmakeart.com is Sarah Cray, and there's all kinds of sources, but that's what I'm finding. So, okay, I'll show you a couple more pictures before I'm done. There's my bunny. So cute. It's so cute. And I'll show you my truck just a minute, because I'm not going to show you the fails.
Show us the fails, please.
There's my truck.
That's cool.
Nice.
And you guys, I really have started this like 2 weeks ago. I really don't know like what I'm doing. I'm not an artist. I was looking for one of my other things. But I'm having a ball, and I'm deciding that maybe I do have a little art, something inside of me that's fun.
Clearly.
So, yeah, good luck. Enjoy.
Thank you, Lori. That's awesome. You know, that's so true. I think it's a great time to work on personal development and things that I love that you're doing something out of your comfort zone. And I love what you just said about there's things inside of you that you didn't know about. It's a great time for us to discover some of those things. I've got an acoustic guitar sitting over there in the corner, and a buddy, Jeff Poole here in Wilmington, he sent me a a link saying that Fender has free lessons, you
Oh,
know?
that's cool.
So whatever it is, like maybe now's the time to really try something that you've been wanting to do, or something that you don't even know if you can do. But yes, just keeping your mind off of that. I haven't turned the TV on since it started,
Wow.
but that's me anyway. You guys know that.
That's great.
Yeah.
But what have you got to lose? What have you got to
yeah.
lose by trying something?
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much. We're going to go to Christy.
Hi guys. I really like what Lori had to say about how everyone's kind of different in what's going to kind of feed them and what's going to speak to them and get them through this. So for me, it is kind of throwing myself into being productive. And look, Ben went away. For me, it feeds me to be productive and to be a positive role model and a positive voice to my followers, because I work with high school seniors and teens. And so I always feel a strong responsibility to them to be a mentor and a role model. And so in a situation like this, I think that's even more important. And it also, again, kind of feeds my soul and gives me something to wake up in the morning and know that I can contribute to. And even though I can't be with them in person, there are ways that I have been connecting with them via technology. And in turn, that has also given me sort of the ability to practice gratitude in this. And I don't know if anyone else is going to speak on that, but just a little bit, when we practice gratitude in situations where we're feeling really overwhelmed, or like everything is kind of in a bad place, and we step back and say, well, what is the good that's going to be coming out of this? Or what's the good things that are happening? And being grateful for those things that can really bring back the positivity into a situation. So for me, I am incredibly grateful for technology, and just like us being here on Zoom. I mean, how amazing we're here with these people from all over the world. Thank you to Ronan for making this possible. And so I, every day, wake up just grateful that I have the platforms available to me to still stay connected to my ambassadors and to my followers and to my peers. And so that's been helping me to stay positive in this and to be grateful. And I wanted to share a few things that I'm doing to stay connected. And it kind of crosses over to the business side, but like Lori was saying, it's different for everyone, and how that is going to be a positive reflection on how you're going to get through this. And for me, again, that productivity and that connectivity is extremely important, and it's helping me. So there are, some of this might be common knowledge. I hope that what I share will inspire somebody else, or maybe some people who aren't familiar with these techniques or tools, that they'll be able to use it, and it will bring joy to them, because it's definitely brought joy to myself and to some of my followers and my ambassadors that I work with. So FaceTime, as obviously everyone's familiar with FaceTime, but I have been using FaceTime in two ways during this time. I have been doing virtual consults via FaceTime, and Zoom is obviously a fantastic platform for that. I chose to do it via FaceTime. I wanted to make sure that I didn't introduce something new to my clients. I wanted them to have a really simple way to meet with me, because we weren't meeting in person, and I didn't want them to have to feel like they had to learn something new or get into their email and figure something out. So FaceTime has been an amazing platform for it. We've had really wonderful consults. I've been doing it for about 2 weeks now, and it's allowed me to continue my business almost as business as usual, because this is a huge time of year for me to be conducting consults. And so I have been almost working my regular hours doing consults, and FaceTime has allowed that. And it has been so fun. We get on and everyone kind of giggles because it's such a funny thing. We're on FaceTime, but it's been amazing, and it's worked out really well. And then FaceTime has also been a platform that I have used to keep in touch with my ambassadors, and my ambassador programs are a huge part of my business. They're more than half of my seniors for the year are part of my ambassadors. And so I use, we have a group text that I keep up with them throughout the year, but if you aren't familiar with group FaceTime, It's really, really wonderful. And you can go into your group text messages. And if you call FaceTime, it calls everybody in that group. So it's so fun. We kind of happened on it accidentally in our family group text at Christmas time. And we have done a few FaceTime calls with my ambassadors, and we haven't had everyone on at once. I have 37 in there. I don't know what that would look like, but we've had about 10 or 12, and it's been so joyful to be able to connect with them, almost like I'm sitting in their living room, and kind of checking in on them. Our class of 2020, school's been canceled here in Virginia for the rest of the year. So my seniors are really heartbroken, and they kind of don't know what to do with themselves. And so all of them were still in their PJs. And I pulled some of, the things that we've been talking about, like put some pants on, and let them know that, I'm here for them, and that there are still lots of really wonderful things ahead of them that are going to happen. Their senior year isn't over. There's going to be things that I'm going to be offering to them, that we still have memories to be made, and to be able to speak to them like almost like we're in person has been really wonderful. So FaceTime, group FaceTime, if you haven't checked it out, for sure is a great way to connect to people. Your peers I'll be doing a group FaceTime with some other photographers next week, and just connecting that way too. So that platform has been wonderful for me. And if I have another minute, I have been using obviously social media to connect my community and my businesses to my followers. And I know a lot of people are doing this as well. So I don't know if that's not necessarily a new thing, but I wanted to share how I've been doing it, so that it doesn't make my workflow, or it doesn't add to my plate too much. And one of the apps that I use is Canva. And some of you are probably familiar with Canva, but if anyone isn't, it's definitely a very simple app that you can use to create marketing. I probably do 99% of my Instagram marketing on Canva, and I have been creating graphics that spotlight our local businesses. And the tips that I use are keep it simple and keep it consistent. So it's really important, again, that I have a positive voice and that I stay within my brand. And so I create graphics through Canva for the business spotlights that I'm doing. I created one graphic that I can save to my Canva dashboard. And then every time I see something come up that I really want to spotlight, it doesn't take me but a few seconds to go back into there, replace the wording, replace the imagery, and I can share that with my followers within a couple seconds or a minute. So it doesn't stress me out to feel like I have to add to my to-do list. And I'm, really speaking to what my mission and my goals are, and really getting the positive voice out to my community really quickly and really simply. So I hope some of those things have helped. I've been enjoying it. It really has kept me upbeat, being able to connect to my clients through those tools, and hopefully someone out there that will inspire as well. So thank you guys for allowing me to be here and share.
Cool, Christy. A couple of things I want to kind of talk to you about as well. This idea of being connected right now, it's very, very important. And I am talking to my friends more than I ever have. My friends, my clients.
Right, definitely.
Even what we're doing right now. And so how are you using that outside of business to kind of keep your spirits up and whatnot?
The same kind of tools, which I think it crosses over for me personally, and the FaceTime I actually discovered within our family. We have family across the United States, and so we were all able to sit in the living room on Christmas Day, and it was the funniest thing because we didn't know about this, and I think one of my children, of course, accidentally hit the FaceTime button when they were trying to text his uncle, and we all popped up on the screen, and it was just so funny to discover that. So we're using FaceTime, and then another app that I'm using to connect, one of my sweet friends, Lisa Siders. I hope you guys know her, but if you don't, you should. She's awesome. Introduced me to Marco Polo app at Sync, and we have a Marco Polo group, and that is really fun way to, it's like a video text messaging. If you're not familiar, it saves all of your videos, so you can get on, you can talk to whoever's within your group, or you can do it one-on-one. It saves the videos. You can reply. It's been a really wonderful way for us to kind of keep in touch, even if we're not able to get on at the same time. And it's different than text because it's your face and your emotions and your real-time expressions. And that's been a really wonderful way to keep in touch with people, especially some of my photography friends.
Cool. Someone has asked that you spell that app that you mentioned.
Which one? The Marco Polo or Canva?
Canva. I'm sure that's the one there.
It's Canva is CANVA. So like canvas without the S.
Ah. All right. Thank you so much. It's so important right now, I think, to stay connected to people, to reach out, check on people, whether you feel like you need to talk to someone or you just want to check in on someone else. I think that that's a really big thing to do. So yeah, take advantage of technology, and like I say, if you're having a bad moment, reach out, because there's nothing that lifts me up more than trying to lift someone else up. You know?
Absolutely.
And
Definitely.
so yeah, just get out there and connect. And very cool. Thank you so much. Let's go to Whitney.
I have to say, you were talking about, connecting online. I have to tell you guys, the best thing about it was today I only had to fix the front of my hair. Nobody's going to see. And so I could pull it all forward and look nice and long. So anyway, no, I am going to talk today, actually from the perspective of a counselor, because my previous life, I was a professional counselor. And so I feel like when we're talking about all of this mind, body, and spirit stuff, I'm really talking from that place more than from the place of being a photographer. And just what we're dealing with now with people kind of struggling with, some of them with a lack of income, with not being able to do their work, which for a lot of people has deep purpose and meaning, loss of social connections and just being isolated. It's kind of a perfect storm to create a lot of anxiety and depression, and a lot of people as artists tend to struggle with some of those things anyway. So those can be intensified during this time. So just thinking about if there were 3 top things that I could recommend to somebody, it would be get up every day and get dressed. I mean, so, I think Christy already said, put your pants on. And I would go a step farther and say, all the way down to your shoes. I learned that trick when I was a stay-at-home mom, and every day looked the same. And it was like, oh, we're going to play more Legos today. There's such a lack of purpose. But if I put on my shoes, if I put on a little bit of makeup and fix the front of my hair, I at least feel like I'm preparing to do something. And so getting dressed, getting outside, sunshine, fresh air, that's so important for our mental health. And the third thing is knowing at least the night before what I'm going to do the next day, having some kind of a schedule. Because right now, for a lot of people, days are just running into each other. And we normally have kind of schedules imposed upon us. But now we don't have that because everything's canceled. So we are needing to do that for ourselves. And if we can't do it with just our business, we have to kind of coordinate that with our home life and having kids at home. So that's what I want to talk about a little bit more today. So I want to share a resource with you guys. Ronan, here's another book for you. You probably already got this one. It is Your Best Year Ever by Michael Hyatt. I don't know if you've heard of that one. But in it, he talks about a life score assessment. And you can actually go online if you Google life score assessment, and you can take this test for yourself. And what it does is it measures 10 different areas of your life and just kind of tells you where your strengths are, where your weaknesses are, what you need to work on. And what you get ends up looking kind of like this. And so you can see kind of where you're doing very well, where you need to work on. And so the 10 categories are spiritual, intellectual, emotional, physical, marital, parental, social, vocational, avocational, and financial. So it's basically, they're kind of covering 3 areas. One is the circle of being, kind of those personal things about myself. Then there's the circle of relating, me in relation to other people. And then there's the circle of doing. And so I think this is such a great tool because, especially now when we have time to focus on the bigger picture, to really think about what we want to work on, because we have all this time, seeing what our weaknesses are in kind of an objective way is really helpful. And so I kind of divided these up into, I call it personal, relational, and purpose and or work. And I think as we are figuring out how to structure our days, it's important that we every day should contain at least one thing from each of those categories. So what I did for my family, and I'm going to show you the one that is open right now that I'm starting with tomorrow, is I created 4 chunks to our days. And you can adapt this depending on whether you're more of a type A person and you like every hour accounted for, or if you like it kind of loose. For me, 3-hour chunks work well because you can really get into a project in 3 hours and feel like you've accomplished something. So from 9 to 12, we're doing home projects. We're in the middle of a renovation. We're putting in a garden. We're doing these things that we've put off. And this includes our kids too, which boy, they love that. They're picking up sticks in the yard right now. From 12 to 3 is educational time or work time for us. And 3 to 6 is family time and personal activities. Y'all, I ordered us all paint by numbers. I didn't go like Lori, I'm not going all freehand right now. We're starting with paint by numbers. And then 6 to 9 is dinner and either an activity or movie. We've been having a lot of movie nights. So I just wanted to give you some ideas in each of those categories. So personal, Lori was talking about her watercolor. I know I signed up for an online masterclass subscription. It's been popping up on my Facebook forever. You've probably seen Annie Leibovitz teaches photography. Steve Martin teaches comedy. I was so tempted by that. And I found that there's something in that group of classes for everybody in our family. So my husband is learning barbecue from Aaron Franklin. And I've been actually looking at the interior design with Kelly Wersler, and my son's learning magic from Penn and Teller. So there's something for everybody. Read a book, obviously. We raided the library before it closed, so we've all got a stack. Planting a garden, exercising. I know Ben's going to talk about that in a minute. Relational, marital. If you're married, I have some friends who they're still having date nights. They order in, they shut the door to their bedroom and set up a little candlelight thing, told their kids, give us an hour of private time, which I love. Parental, connecting with our families in a very intentional way. I don't know if you guys can see up here behind me. I went through our game cabinet and listed every board game that we have. And it's our goal to play every single one of them before this is over. Even the ones that were like, oh, we all hate that. Well, if we hate it, we're gonna get rid of it. And there are 62 games on that list. Social, I know we are actually writing handwritten letters to all of our clients for the last 2 years. And some of them sending gift cards, because we did buy some gift cards to support some of our local businesses. So that's the way we're connecting with them. And for work, you know, plan a new project. I'm planning a project that I'm learning about now that will probably launch in January or February of next year. It's just that I have the time to think about doing something new that I've never tried before. And finally, I decided that just because we are quarantined, I miss my camera. I miss taking pictures every day. So I pulled it out and I'm actually documenting our family during the quarantine. Even though my daughter is 17 now, and every time I pull the camera out, she's like, oh, my hair is crazy today. But that's part of life right now. And so, yeah, that's what I have. I think if we do something from each of those categories every day, it'll kind of keep us in balance. We can focus on the areas where we need to grow.
Whitney, I love that. Thank you so much. That's something I've sort of been struggling with a little my schedule. It's not that I have a schedule to begin with. It's that I've gotten, when you got the guys who know me, like when things like this happen, like my mind just goes in all these different directions. So I actually have so many more projects than I would have normally in my normal routine, because, you know, you start thinking about this and you have this, I don't know. So it's cool that you got it into chunks of time. I think for me, because originally when I knew you were going to talk about this, in my mind, I was thinking like an hourly schedule of sorts, but the chunk of time, that's a lot better for me. A couple things that you brought up that are just so cool, like family time. I mean, you talk about some good things that are coming out of this. Isn't it cool that we have family time on our schedule, you know? And then the idea of documenting your family, there is a crazy idea. Let's photograph our own family a little bit, yeah, because we get busy with clients, and a lot of times we don't do that with our own. You know, some people have awesome blogs where they show sort of a daily deal, or it's a good time to do all of that stuff. So that was really awesome. I love what you're doing with all of that. So let's go to Monica.
Okay, I'm like have a notebook full already, so thank you, ladies, for everything. Mine's very quick, so I just wanted to talk really quickly about, you know, I think that for me, one thing that makes me feel extremely anxious and uncertain, and I suspect many other people too, is the financial piece, right? And I know we have another group talking all about that, but for me, this plays hand in hand with my mental well-being. Because if I'm very concerned about money, it's going to make me anxious all the time. I know, looking back over the last 20 years of business, I can document like my worst decisions down to the times where I was most worried about short-term cash flow. So I just wanted to kind of talk about that for a quick second, because for me, when my finances are not in line, I just feel like there's this monkey on my back. I feel very heavy. I feel very isolated. I feel embarrassed or ashamed, like it's an isolating thing, right? Like we don't want to say to somebody else that we haven't managed our finances well. And so I want to just take this moment to say to everybody, like, we are all in the same place. And so this financial stress that any of us may be feeling is not a reflection or any personal failing about what we have or have not done well. It's really not. And I just wanted to open the conversation a little bit, because I think it's hard for people to talk about. So I got a tip from a friend of mine a week or so ago, and it just changed my whole mindset. And so what we're doing is, right now, cash is king, right? We're all self-employed. We all have a limited amount of cash, and there's no new cash really coming in our door right now. So I'm like hanging on to every cash dollar that we have and not spending anything unnecessarily. So that sounds obvious, but we've done everything from call our mortgage company. We've called our utilities. If you're renting, you should call your landlord. And again, I'm bringing this up. It's kind of like hard to just broadcast this to the world, because everybody would think, oh my gosh, well, we thought they were successful or whatever. And I'm saying it because it doesn't have anything to do with that. And I don't want anybody else to feel that way. This is a situation that we are all in, and now we are moving into survival mode. So the very best strategy that I can give anybody is, every dollar that you don't have to spend right now, hang on to it, because we don't know how long this is going to last. We have the money for our mortgage payments right now, but if I don't have to spend that cash in 4, 5, 6 months, that could mean the difference between us being open or not. That could be the difference between us being able to keep an employee or not. And so we're just really being wise about that. And I will tell you, it's everybody, because when I called the mortgage company the other day, I did it in less than 90 seconds. It was all automated. I didn't even have to speak to a real person. It was basically like, are you wanting to defer payments? Press 1 or 2. Is it because of the coronavirus? Press 1 or 2. And how much is 90 days enough? Press 1 or 2. Would you like it to start right now? 1 or 2. And in less than a minute, I had 3 months of deferred mortgage payment. And I don't know about you guys, but that's just like like this big exhale, right? So everybody's used to it. Everybody's prepared for it. So we've called our car loans, credit cards, like just everybody to say, we don't have to pay that right this second. We're not going to. And again, it's not that we're in a dire financial strait yet, but that's exactly what I'm trying to prevent. And so it's just, I'd like to think of it as just being smart and strategic. And I just wanted to share that because I want to encourage everybody out there that this is not a reflection on you. This is not a personal failing in any way, shape, or form. Even if you have all the savings in the world set aside, it's just smart thinking right now because we don't know how long this is going to last. And for us, the time between somebody deciding that they want a family portrait and us actually getting paid for the said family portrait can be anywhere between 6 to 8 to 10 weeks, right? I mean, before we're like all said and done, paid in full. So I'm waiting for like the weather to get nice, for us to be able to shoot, for people to feel better, for this ban to be lifted. And then people are going to like start calling. And then no matter how much I fast track that process, we all know it takes time, right? So I'm just trying to squirrel away all of that money that I can. So hopefully that'll help somebody out there, and hopefully that'll make somebody not feel ashamed and just, you know, look out for themselves and be strategic. The other little tiny thing I wanted to mention was I think people don't realize sometimes that you're allowed to feel grief about everything that's happening. Like, this is a big disappointment. A lot of us had such big plans for this year. I mean, we just came back from XXV and we had this whole like just list and list of things we were so excited about implementing. And the reality is they're not going to happen this year. It's not that they're not going to happen ever, but it's not going to happen the way we planned for it to. And I think for me, the initial shock of all this was really just masking some grief. And that sounds dramatic, and I don't mean it to be, but you are allowed to take a moment and feel that sadness and that disappointment that, gosh, this just isn't going to be what we thought it was this year. And so I think amazing things are going to come out of it. I think we're going to be so much better than before. I know that in my bones, but it's still difficult to go through. So just allow yourself to be sad or feel disappointed every once in a while, but then keep moving. So.
I love that. There's so much good stuff there. And, you know, since we talked yesterday, I called the car loan place, and you're right. It was very easy. They were ready for the conversation. And we did this, we went through a flood a few years ago that shut us down for 6 months. So some of this I have already dealt with before, but it doesn't hurt your credit. They just add the 3 months on to the end of the loan.
Right.
And I love what you said. You know, there are like stigmas and things. It's not a failure to do these things. They're ready for it, and you shouldn't be ashamed of whatever you have to do.
Right.
We're out there helping other people figure out how to keep their small businesses open. We're a small business too. You know, we have to do what we need to do and get creative. And yeah, that's very good stuff. So thank you. Lori Nordstrom, your turn.
Forgot I had to unmute the other Lori. Thanks guys for all of this. I too, Monica, have written tons of notes already, and just appreciate everybody sharing and sharing from the heart too. I think that's it's been really amazing to see all of these little webinars and panels coming together, and everybody just really giving and sharing from the heart. So appreciate that, and appreciate you, Ronan, for putting this together. I have the fun of getting to talk about building your immune support during, and of course it's really important right now. We should have been doing it before, right? But I'm going to talk about immune support and what that looks like. I'm going to share with you guys kind of the biggest offenders to the immune support, and then share with you some of the things that you can do to build the immune support that you have. And I am a health coach as well as a photographer and business coach. Some people don't know that about me, but I am a certified health coach. Doesn't mean I'm a doctor, and I'm not trying to diagnose you. So I'll say that right up front. Just something that we're taught to say in the health coaching industry, and seems like it'd be obvious, but I do want to talk about immune support. And your immune system basically is the system in your body. We've got several different systems that work for us, but it's the system in your body that protects us from anything yucky that's coming in. So any foreign invaders, and that's going to include things like the flu, the cold, maybe something else that's going on right now. So when our immune system is weak and it's broken down, we're just much more susceptible to these things. And that's why currently we do see the elderly being more susceptible, because their bodies are typically more broken down. But the fact of the matter is that most Americans have a compromised immune system because of the way we're living, just our lifestyle. And so that's what I want to chat with you about is some of those things, because sometimes we're not doing them on purpose. It's just the way we live, but we're really compromising the way our bodies work and the way that our bodies are designed to work. And I don't know if you guys know anybody who says all the time, I just never get sick, or I rarely get sick, and then they get sick. Or maybe they say I never get sick and they really never get sick. We all know those people. Those are typically the people who are really feeding their bodies well and taking care of their bodies. So we all know one of those people in our lives. And I know Kevin is one of my best friends in the world. And he's been around me enough that he knows, like, he picks up a Monster drink, I'm gonna be smacking it out of his hand. And I'm one of those people that's kind of criticizing what's on your plate. And I don't do that like out of judgment. I just do it like, I want more for you, my friend. And I love you, Kevin. And Kevin, you're doing so much better than when I met you. So yay you. But so all that said, there's absolutely no one who is immune to everything. Okay, so you can do all the right things, but it doesn't give you a hall pass. We're just talking about things that are going to help to support you as you are. So all that said, what happened?
I think that was me. Sorry.
Oh, no problem. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm echoing. Okay, so. Yes, all that said, we're, nobody's free, nobody's just immune free, but we can do what we can to support our systems and our bodies. And really the way God designed our bodies to work is beautiful. If we treat our bodies properly, if we're good stewards of what we've been given, of our temples, they're going to work better. It's just the way that we're designed. So first I'll talk about a few of the major offenders, and by doing this, I'm probably going to offend a few of you. But number one is going to be sugar. Our sugar intake is horrible for your body, and we're finding more and more and more out about what happens when sugar is in our bodies through the science that's being done right now through research. But it spikes your blood sugar. It raises that insulin. It raises your blood pressure. There's so many things that are happening. And just 1 teaspoon of sugar suppresses the immune system for 4 hours. So that's something to start thinking about when, we're in situations like this. Every time you're feeding your body that handful of candy or that soda or, whatever you're grabbing, to kind of soothe the emotions or whatever, you're damaging the inside. You're damaging the parts of our body that are going to fight off some of these things. So sugar is number one. And just thinking about that 1 teaspoon, we've got 10 teaspoons in any can of soda, a regular little can of soda, even a Sprite. It doesn't have to be a Coke. So 10 teaspoons. So we're talking now your entire day is messed up from one can of soda. There is, I've got a little list here, 14 teaspoons of sugar in that Gatorade that you're feeding your kids, 14 teaspoons. Nesquik, the chocolate milk that's out there that I know a lot of people just grab for their kids or even for themselves after a workout. I don't know, Ben, if you'd have ever done that, but Just a chocolate milk, 15 teaspoons of sugar in that, 60 grams. So, I mean, this is crazy. So sugar is going to be number one. And of course, sugar can come in our food and in the drinks that we are drinking, but it's just, there are other things that are involved. It makes you irritable a lot of times. Drinking or eating sugar keeps us hungry because it starts that momentum in our bodies and our brains that say, I want more of that. That's how we get hooked on things like sugar, is because we continually want more. So it's going to keep you hungry. So we're eating more. And then also the other thing about sugar is that it speeds up the aging process. And that's not fun for any of us. It shows up on our skin, and definitely it shows up on the inside. So sugar is number one. Number two is going to be alcohol. So another thing that nobody wants to hear, especially right now, I've heard people say, I have to have my wine at night. And no judgment. I was certainly one of those people for lots and lots of years. But then when you start really digging in and realize what all is happening in your body as alcohol metabolizes in your body, it's like, you know, I don't really need that glass of wine tonight. So it is acidic. It does have tons of sugar, and most alcoholic drinks, you're going to keep bringing that sugar in. But, you know, as most of us know, it causes damage to our liver. But it's also causing damage to your pancreas and to your, you know, your gastrointestinal tract, if I could say that right. But the way we digest things, and it even affects our brains. So it's damaging the cells of your body, the tissues of your body. And again, it ages us, ages our skin. I know, you know, J-Lo was the big thing during the Super Bowl. But one of the things that I hear J-Lo say all the time, Jennifer Lopez, and she has amazing, beautiful skin at 50 years old, not a wrinkle on her body. She doesn't have cellulite. And she will say, it's because I don't drink. I don't put alcohol in my body. That messes up your skin. And, you know, I agree. Looking at the people that aren't drinking, you can see that. So alcohol, just something to just think about and consider before you pick up that glass of wine. So the next two things I won't spend a lot of time on, but they're wheat and dairy. And of course, we all know someone who is either lactose intolerant or gluten intolerant. And it's because our bodies just don't do well with these things. They are foreign substances in our bodies, are not whole foods. And so just things to consider as you're planning your food. And then stress goes right along with that. Stress beats up our immune system. So a lot of what everyone has talked about here, whether it's getting your schedule down, like Whitney talked about, or just being grateful, you know, like Chrissy talked about, what all these things are good for lowering our stress levels. And stress is going to make our bodies feel run down and make us more vulnerable to toxins. Just does. So those are some of the things that suppress the immune system. And then just to support the immune system, I like to share what I call my daily meds. And that's the acronym MEDS. And your M is going to be your mindset. So that's anything that we're taking. We want to make sure that we start our days properly with prayer, with meditation, with, you know, just filling it up with the good stuff. And like Kevin said, don't turn the TV on to start your day. If you got to check in and see what's happening, that's great. But try to stay away from what you're putting in your body, both in your mind and, you know, through your mouth. But I always love the quote that says the inside dictates the outside. And that has a lot to do what we're filling our minds with. So mindset, the E is for exercise. I won't talk about that because Ben is going to take that over. Your D is for your diet. The D in meds is for your diet. So, and that's going to be including your water, stay hydrated. But your diet is going to be staying away from the things that we just talked about, and then making sure that you're including things like good supplementation, good bacteria through probiotics. Collagen is a good thing to be taking, especially if you're someone like me. I'm a vegetarian, and so I need that protein that collagen gives me. And so collagen is going to be good for your joints, for your bone health, for your muscle tissues, for your skin, for all those things. So collagen is something that I personally add. And then we all know that we're supposed to be eating more greens and more whole foods. But I also suggest to most people that they add a concentrated green, which is going to be like a powdered green that you can mix either in your protein shake, or you can even mix it into food sometimes if you're preparing, if you hate the taste of it. I know some people just can't stand like the powdered concentrated greens. But all those things, just make sure you're getting a good quality supplement when you're taking any of those things. And then the S in meds is for sleep. And sleep is just as important as a lot of these other things. And it's one of those things, I know, Ronan, we keep asking you, are you sleeping? Are you sleeping? And he has said, and Ronan seems to be at all places at all times. So we don't know when he's sleeping, but he says he is. But sleep is when our bodies are going to repair themselves and when they get to do all the beautiful things that they're designed to do. So it's really important that we get that sleep, and sleep is going to affect every other part of your life. And I know a lot of times as photographers, we're on the computers till late at night, and we kind of wear that as a badge of honor. You know, I'm a night person. I was up till 3 o'clock editing, you know, whatever. And, you know, and we really need to remove that badge, because it hurts your next day and your next day if you're not getting proper sleep. And I know I do also hear people say, well, I can't sleep. Well, if you train your body over a course of a couple of weeks, you will start getting good sleep. It is affected by what we're putting in our minds. It's affecting on what we're putting into our body. So all those other things, but then get that good sleep. And it also is going to affect your brain function. It affects, you know, every area, and then also that repairing that we're doing. So those are my little tips, and I hope that's helpful. I know sometimes that's not the most popular subject to be talking about, because we all fall into one of those categories where, like, shoot, I wish that wasn't, I wish that wasn't a thing that hurt my immune system or stopped the aging or, you know, accelerated the aging process or whatever. But yeah, if we can all do our parts, we're all staying home and doing our parts that way, but we can also really start fueling and feeding our bodies properly so that they function better. So.
Cool. Thank you, Lori. That was good. You know, when we got into the body part of this mind, body, and spirit thing, we were covering the rest pretty good, but we did want to get some information out there about taking care of your body. And thank you for taking that subject, Lori. And, you know, I learned a lot over the years. I'm trying not to sip on my sugar-laced coffee here while you're talking.
Didn't mean to throw you under the bus there, Kevin.
No, it's all good. It's good. But I also, as I was thinking about this, I was trying to think, okay, well, who in the group can help us out with some exercise while we're stuck at home? And Ben came to mind, and you know, he's a healthy fella. And so what we've asked Ben to do is to give us some exercises at all levels that you can do at home. Maybe if you don't have equipment or whatever. And Ben's got some mic issues here, so this is going to be interesting, but I'm going to pass it over to Ben Shirk.
Well, hey, thanks for having me, and excited to go over some stuff. When I was trying to work through this information and figure out some things to develop for you guys, it's certainly, there's such a wide range of people. This is our workout area. This used to be my studio when I was at home, when I had a home studio. And it was my shooting area, my sales area, everything here. When I finally moved out, I turned it into a wrestling room, and we use this all the time, every day. We're up here, not just wrestling, but we have a TV in the corner. We watch workout videos. We have weights up here. We have pull-up bars, and I mean, we're messing around doing handstands and all kinds of this silly contests up here too. So we're always very active. We're a very active family. If that's not you, it's certainly going to be hard to change just because, you know, you're quarantined. Being quarantined is going to make you feel like, you know, there's nothing to do. You don't have a schedule, as Lori touched on in the beginning, where it just makes you feel kind of a little bit and pressures to do so. It's hard to get going and moving. As a very active person, I have like a routine set up and things that I follow, and nothing's really changed since the quarantine. But if you're wanting to get into a more active schedule or more active lifestyle, for the quarantine, you're going to have to set up something where a schedule, kind of as we've been talking about, that kind of works that in and helps you to say, okay, from this time to this time, this is what we're doing. I am working out. I'm going to be active and healthy. But it's not going to be easy. If you've never done it before, it's not going to be something that suddenly you just start doing. Kind of like, again, as Lori touched on the beginning, if you've been putting stuff off for the housework just because you didn't have time, and all of a sudden you have all this time and you're not doing it, it's not because you didn't have the time, it's because you were lazy, basically. So setting up a schedule where you wake up in the morning and putting on those pants, putting on those workout pants, and getting going, doing something where you can be a little bit active. And it's going to be hard to, do it in your home, especially because in your home, you're used to relaxing and sitting around doing, just being comfortable. So when you're setting up that schedule, create a goal for yourself. Set some kind of goal that you want to accomplish, not just, it doesn't have to be weight, how much weight you want to lose. It can just be the fact that you're doing this for half hour or doing a certain number of reps or whatever. Set some kind of goal and then record that each time you do it, and so you see your progress and see you building on that progress. That's very important to, accomplishing something, whether it be working out or a business or whatever. So recording what you do, and also find a way to hold yourself accountable with, when during normal times, we can go out and actually get a gym membership and go to a gym. Buying a gym membership helps you hold yourself accountable. And then there's trainers and your friends you see, they're going to hold yourself accountable to actually accomplishing that. Now we're sitting at home by ourselves, and so it's a little bit harder. So find a friend that you can do it with. You can get on, just like we're doing right now, get on a group chat and be together in that morning at that specific time frame. We're going to start working out together. You can totally set up this group chat and get a bunch of your friends together to help encourage you all to do it. As far as workouts go, there's gonna be a huge variety depending on your experience level and your fitness level. But one suggestion I could have is just getting on YouTube. There's so many workout videos on YouTube. You can look at workouts for beginners. For our kids, we have a schedule set up, a block schedule set up, where they have they have to do some yoga. Usually it's about a half hour of yoga. They find a video online. We've been doing wrestling yoga. And then they have at least a half hour of lifting. We have some free weights and stuff here. And then they have a half hour of conditioning, which they pick a video again on. We have a Beachbody subscription. So there's a huge variety of different workouts on there that they pick from. But they've been also just going on YouTube and like 8-minute abs on YouTube. Like that thing's old. That's things from like the early 80s. And that's one of the best like ab workouts I found. It's free. It's just looking up on YouTube. They've also been going through and doing they had to practice some kind of dance. And even though my boys hate it, we told them they had to find a dance move that they can practice. So they've been looking at breakdancing moves and practicing breakdancing. So they're up here spinning around and stuff like that. So it doesn't have to be necessarily a workout. It just has to be some kind of activity that you enjoy and can, push yourself towards. So it doesn't have to be lifting weights or doing push-ups. It could be whatever, any of those things that you actively enjoy. And there's all kinds of workouts for dancers and yoga workouts and all kinds of things like that. But one thing I was thinking of as I'm going through this is that the workout places are hurting just as bad as us photographers, if not more, because they have specific no business things in place where they cannot have people come into their place of business. Us photographers haven't been particularly designated from the government as you can't do business. So some of us are still able to do stuff online and things like that, but those workout places have been completely shut down. So maybe contacting or finding a local fitness instructor or whatever, and bringing their attention the fact that they could do this group chat and get a bunch of their clients together and put a an online thing in the morning where you guys could all get together. You could still do a workout. Pitch it to them in the fact that maybe even as part of your photography business, doing a before and after. Like they all take their shots of the starting of the quarantine video, and after quarantine gets over, you'll do their after shots for them and get a bunch of new cool clients that are really doing what you like to do anyway, and you get to kind of show off to the community what you guys have been putting together. So just kind of my ideas there on working out, but that's what I got.
Perfect. Perfect. Man, that's so good. Okay, so question for you. I would like to start working out, and the way that my mom works, I'm good to go to the gym. That's easy. There's a routine there, but now I don't have a gym to go to. So every day I say, I'm going to start working out tomorrow. So do you have just like a couple of things that we could just break the ice with, like tomorrow morning?
Well, don't say tomorrow. Say we're working out now and just do it
so
now.
this afternoon when we work out, what are a few things?
All right. First off, if you're going to start working out, you need a good warm up in. You need something to loosen up your muscles and get your mind going. So just if you can get outside and do a little quick jog around the block or something like that. If you can't go outside, you're doing some either like jumping jacks, running in place, things like that. Get some stretching in, get your mind and body ready to go and to work out. You don't want to start off cold. Turning on some, if you not doing a video, turning on some music, some workout video. We say Alexa, we yell at Alexa, play me, and we tell them to play us usually something like play us rock videos or rock workout videos. And so it cranks up the volume in there, and it starts some good kind of just the mentality of working out. Things you can do as far as like starting off, the heavy lift, like lifting stuff and, whatever, squat jumps and stuff like that's hard physical work. Starting off a little bit slower into that workout pace too. Maybe some just some sit-ups to start off with, or some, lean over and do some toe touches like Ronan's been doing, getting the flexibility going. But setting that goal of what you want to do. I'm a very competitive person. So like for me, we do a lot of push-ups in our family. My sixth grader, he's set some goals for himself for next year for wrestling. And so he made all his own goals, have been doing it, working out himself while I've been at work and stuff like that. But he does, I think, 250 push-ups a day, breaks them up in the sets like 20 or 25. And he's been doing 100 pull-ups. So he breaks those up into sets of like, he does 50 in the morning, 50 at night, breaks them up into sets of like 10 or 12. So he's been really cranking out, but again, he's setting those goals and just getting after it. Again, push-ups, sit-ups, lunges, things like that. There's so many different videos on YouTube to look through, just that'll kind of be tailored to you. I was looking at some research last night, and there's already been photographers, releasing photographer workouts for the quarantine, and like it was just silly, stuff with using your tripod to do squats and stuff like that. But it was very funny, and there's all kinds of quarantine videos out already on YouTube for working out. So people have been really, actively getting after that stuff, and it's hard for me to like each individually say to each person like you should be doing this, because everybody has their different fitness levels and comfortable levels and goals that they want to do. But just finally not saying tomorrow I'm going to do this, but all right, we're not doing anything right now. Let's get going.
I love that. That's so true. So when I get off of here, I'm going to work out, Ben.
All right.
Very, very cool. And I'm going to Zoom you, and you're going to have to watch me. Okay, Ronan.
Hi guys, how are you? Wow, what have we had today? We've had wonderful advice as to what we can do in the moment, right? And just to follow up on Ben, like look at me, like I work out all the time. I don't think. I drink way too much alcohol. I'm only 24. And all these challenges. But we also have to think about this is just something in the moment. Yeah, we're all going to come through this. And we got to use this time as well. I think Damien McGillicuddy called it the gift of time. So what I really want you to think about to make your how to your mind, body, and spirit is to think about where you're going to go and what are you going to do. So I'm going to share my screen with you for just a little picture I have, because there's a funny story behind this. Hopefully you can see a big hairy creature now, right? So this is a mammoth. Can you see the mammoth? Someone give me a signal that you can. Yeah, okay. So this is a mammoth. And it's the biggest, hairiest thing I could find. So somebody asked me when I did this as a part of my program about a year and a half ago, they said, so Ronan, who took that photograph? And someone in the audience said it had to be Tony Corbell. You're supposed to laugh at that now. Okay. So what's a BHAG? So a BHAG, it was invented by two guys called Jim Collins and Jerry Porras in their book, Successful Habits of Visionary Companies. And the principle behind it is that you, and we're going to do this. So let's do it. Close your eyes, everybody. And imagine yourself getting into a 3XM time machine. And we're going forward now to March 2030. So I want to picture yourself in your car and you're driving up to your home. I want you to open the door of your car. I want you to get out of your car and I want you to look at the car. Now I want you to look at the home. So this is not the home you're in today. This is the home you're going to be in 10 years' time. I want you to go in the door of your home. I want you to sit down in a chair. And I want you just to think about your business as it is now, i.e. March 2030. How many employees do you have? How big is your business? What's your turnover? What's your profitability? Now I want you to visualize your holidays. How many holidays do you take a year? How fit are you? Have a look at your body. Is it fit on the inside, as Laurie said? Is it fit on the outside, as Ben said? Are you financially secure? Have you managed your business to turn you into financial security? And you're visualizing that you've achieved all this in the now. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to open your eyes and I want you just to write down in the present tense, we're still in 2030, I want you to write down what you visualized. And this is really important because we've got to think about where do we want to go? What life do we want to create for ourselves? And once we've got that vision, then we can work out how we're going to get there. And now is a really good time because we've got time to work out these plans. Because when I talk to photographers and other businesses about creating a plan, we say, oh, we're too busy to create a plan. But we're not too busy now. So let's use it productively so we can start to figure out where we want to bring our lives, where we want to bring our business, and what does that business mean for us to achieve what we want to do. I don't know whether that was 5 minutes or not, but I hope that helped a little bit. If you want to know more about this, we have a program called Ways to Go. It's absolutely free to join Ways to Go. And people have described it as a sort of a mini MBA. So there's a lot of photographers who've gone through this already, but this is one of the modules within Ways to Go. It's absolutely free for you. So if you do want to create a plan for your business, try Ways to Go. And at the end of it, you will have your own 2-page business success plan out of it. So that's my piece for today, Kevin. I don't know if there's any questions on that.
No, that's really good. I was writing down really quick, man. I was still in there. I had to leave my future place. I'm always like living in that space, it seems. So, and this has been so good. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for being on the team and sharing today and taking your time out of your schedule. I hope everybody continues to be safe out there and have fun and share the love and joy. And I will see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.